It's Waxing Lyrical, baby.
Hello, Waxers, and welcome to Waxing Lyrical with Mains and Dutch. I'm your host, Mains, and my colleague in the danger zone in Rainford, Mr. Neil Dutton. How are we, Neil?
Divisional preview time.
Well, he's gone early with the spoiler. It's July the 3rd, day before lost to the Colonies Day, as we like to call it over this side of the pond.
No, we like to call it Thursday.
The 4th. Yeah, we like to call it the 4th of July. And we've worked out, that we probably need to get on with the divisional previews if we're going to do 8 of them. We did think about leaving some out, but we're not going to do that. So divisional previews will start this week with the champs, the AFC East. I think there's a couple of reasons why we picked it. It's got the champs in, so you should really start with the champs. And
it gets out the way.
I also don't see many things changing in between now and then, apart from New York Daily News headlines. That was a good way of going about it. So we will start with the AFC East later in the show. Before that, a classic weird word though. Neil, the Hamburglar has returned. However, not the lovable rogue, from McDonald's. Oh no. Florida police, and I'm not going to lie to you, Neil, it makes me feel warm inside to be back in Florida for one of these stories. Have arrested a thief nicknamed the Hamburglar who allegedly broke into 2 restaurants, made himself a meal, and then robbed them. Patrick Benson, 34, allegedly broke into a Jensen's Beach, Florida Wendy's, where he grilled and ate a burger before stealing the restaurant's safe. The sheriff's office also said Benson also burglarized, great word, not sure if
I love
real,
that, yeah.
another local restaurant and attempted to rob a gas station but couldn't get inside or couldn't find where the burgers were stored in said gas station.
Yeah, the grill was too well protected for him to bypass.
A suspect coined as a modern-day Hamburglar doesn't appear to have any problem making himself right at home after breaking into local food establishments to make himself a burger, officials said in a release. The suspect has been successful at forcing his way into 2 restaurants, cooking himself some dinner, then stealing what he can't consume. Amazing. I like the idea that he went into a Wendy's, but then he also went into a local restaurant. Like, we're not allowed to name that one. I don't know why. I wonder if he got like a Wendy's, one of them square burgers, because Wendy's are renowned for the funny sheep burger. Like.
Yeah. See, my only real exposure to Wendy's is people who on Twitter, after someone's gone into like a slightly ranty state, people respond with, "Sir, this is a Wendy's." Just that's pretty much my only exposure to it. You do have to admire the gall and the brass neck of Mr. Benson. As you say, it's basically, deciding, well, I need money, whatnot. I have to have this money, but I've got to have a burger before I really get my thief on. I've really got to get something inside me.
Yeah, you got to be comfortable that you're not going to get caught if you think I've got time to cook myself a cheeseburger.
Especially now we've noticed McDonald's has now gone away from their idea of cooking food to have it ready. They now cook to order. So seeing how long that takes, I would assume Wendy's would be in a similar situation. So obviously he's had leisure time.
Exactly, or maybe breaks in, starts the cooking, cracks the safe, gets the stuff out, eats the burger, leaves.
This is it. I think we need a deeper look into his MO. To see in what order he did things, although people may be conscious they don't really want this getting out. Just they could do without this spate of copycats.
Spate of fat copycats. We love Weird World and we'll do it throughout the divisional previews, hopefully. If you've got a story for us, please send it to @waxing_lyrical. I definitely use Twitter at the moment, as every other social media device seems to be down. So in your face, Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Although the plus side of this is any photo of me I upload to Instagram now, I now look as attractive as anyone in the world.
Correct. Absolutely, Neil. Absolutely. So at waxing_lyrical, send us your weird words and we will read them out over the next few weeks. So Neil, let's get on with it. The AFC East preview. I'll give people a little bit of background of how we're going to do this. We're going to do each team, obviously, all 4 of them. We're going to talk about the change in said team, ins and outs. One big question for each team. Neil's going to give us who's breaking out and who's breaking down in fantasy style, and then we're going to say they're going to be more likely to be discussed either by draftniks in week 17, in Super Bowl week, or not at all.
Which you could argue the last is probably the most upsetting for any fan base or franchise.
Yeah, congratulations for your irrelevance. AFC East has been dominated by one team. Now I know Mr. Esposti, our close personal friend, has Patriots propaganda talking to us about how much the AFC East isn't the worst division in football, and that the Pats don't pad their schedule by playing the AFC 6 times. Okay, but while we're doing that, let's do a thought experiment. Since 01, so the 2002 season onwards, how many times have the 3 other teams got 10 wins or more?
I think that is 3 times.
For one of the teams, yes.
The Jets have.
The Jets have done it 4 times.
Right.
The Dolphins have done it 3 times, and the Bills have done it 0 times. So since 2002, which for those who aren't paying attention is a very, very long time ago, these 3 teams have won more than 10 games 7 times. That is what's known in the trade as #ungood.
It can be seen that way.
So let's get on with those teams, starting with the team with 0 10-win seasons since 2002, the Buffalo Bills. Change, Neil. In the draft, they picked up Ed Oliver. They also got TJ Yeldon, Cole Beasley, and Andre Roberts. Outs, Charles Clay, Vontae Davis. The big question for this team for me is the ceiling of said team totally dependent on the progression or lack thereof of Josh Allen?
Well, in simple terms, yes. They got their quarterback last year. They threw him in after they realised this idea of a competition with Nathan Peterman is really not a good idea. Now, Josh Allen has his critics. I was one of them. I still am. He is a far from perfect quarterback. However, one of the ins that you didn't mention, but I will now, is they brought in to be their quarterback coach, I think it was Tim Rattay, former NFL quarterback himself. He was the quarterback coach for the Carolina Panthers with Cam Newton when Newton was MVP. So if we see any parallels with Cam Newton, big arm, mobile, not particularly accurate, there is that. There are pieces that the Bills have brought in on offense. They brought in, say, Cole Beasley, John Brown. They did flirt with getting Antonio Brown. Andre Roberts is a bit, he's really just special teams, whatnot. But they did make an awful lot of moves to bring in and surround Josh Allen with players that seemingly seem to fit his skill set. Just one interesting, well, 2 actual statistical nuggets before we go into it. Aside from Tom Brady, the other 3 teams, there's a good likelihood are going to be quarterbacked by 3 first-round draft picks from 2018. And also, these 3 teams all drafted a defensive tackle in the first round of 2019.
They did.
So, the bad thing for Josh Allen is, we know he's mobile, but we don't really want him to be running as often as he can, is there's a good chance the Bills' offensive line is going to have 5 new starters, because it was trash last year. So they're going to have 5 new starters, all those new receivers. It's not a great running game, but my God, it's an old running game. LaShawn McCoy was terrible last year. Frank Gore was okay for Miami, but he's 700 years old. TJ Yeldon's a satellite backer, probably at best. And they drafted Devin Singletary, who was ridiculously dominant but at a low level of competition. So it's one of those, from an offensive point of view, it's hard to really hang your hat on what they're going to do well. I don't think we're betraying any state secret if we suggest that the NFL leader in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns will not be playing in upstate New York this year.
Yep, that's fair.
But you have to say that they probably overachieved when they got to the playoffs and then fell back to where they probably were last year. So defensively, they're very, very strong. Their numbers are very, very good. What would you expect? That's where the head coach comes from. Mm-hmm. Offensively, I think we need to see some progression from Allen, but they seem to have gone out of their way to try and make that as easy as possible for him.
I think that's a good thing, Neil. I think sometimes you've got to do that, haven't you? You can say, oh, we've got this number 1 draft pick quarterback, but we haven't got anyone around him and no offensive line. That's an issue. So you've got to try and identify and fix those things. I think what I could say is that, like, he's fun. Now, is he an NFL starting quarterback? Yet to be fully convinced. However, he's got an absolute Exocet missile as an arm, and he's fun to watch. And I, for one, am rooting for him just mainly due to the fact I would like Buffalo to be better. As you said, the defense is solid, and Ed Oliver has a chance to be really good. So hopefully that will improve the defense even more. I don't think they need to win blowouts. I just think they need to consistently be able to score 24 points a game. If they're able to do that, then they could be in business.
Yeah, I'd say the defense was excellent last year.
Yeah,
they are the best. They had the best passing defense in the NFL.
Yeah, it's good. So let's move on to fancy, Neil. So on the Bills, who is breaking out?
Well, this is the problem, you see, in the sense that they don't look like they're going to be particularly dominant in any real area, so it's hard for me to actually say with any degree of certainty that you have to go out and get any of these players, because we don't know who the starting running back's going to be. By the way, it's not Tim Rattay, it's Ken Dorsey, the quarterback coach. Tim Rattay is the Washington quarterback coach, so I apologise. It's hard for me to say, to agree with any, say that. Could the starting running back be LaShawn McCoy? They've said it will be, but McCoy was been terrible. Could it be Frank Gore? Probably, because he won't die. Could it be Devin Singletary? Yes, because he's ridiculously productive. Wide receiver wise, there's no one there that looks like they're going to be solid, 25-30% target share. It may well be spread around. So the only person I can suggest is, and this is, we'll look to see where you go at the start of the season. But if you're going to look at Josh Allen as a streamer, that's the way I can go there, because I cannot recommend anyone else with draft capital. It may be a question of wait till the end of your draft and see who's there as a free agent.
Who is breaking down, O'Neill?
Breaking down is LaShawn McCoy. He was getting overdrafted last year and lived down to those expectations. He was, career low year in terms of yards, carries, yards per reception. He's been a phenomenal player, as we know, but unfortunately, Father Time being undefeated and all that, he showed his age last year. Why the Bills have kept him, I don't know. Because they could have saved a big chunk of change by letting him go. They decided not to. I mean, at the moment, his ADP is running back 39. And I think that's probably too much for my blood as well. Unless he wins the job, and put this, all right, unless he starts taking substances that can somehow positively impact his performance, if it's LaShawn McCoy we saw last year, why would any fantasy owner want that in their team?
Yes, absolutely, Neil. So I guess the question is, are the Bills more likely to be discussed by draftniks in Week 17 as a playoff contender in Super Bowl week, or not at all?
I think their ceiling is to be discussed in Week 17, but I think the more likelihood is not at all. I think defensively they're going to be very strong, and I think the defense is going to stop them from cratering, but they go as Allen takes them. And for me, there's still a lot of question marks about that. So at the time, as we are speaking now, I think 8-8, no one really caring. is probably it's progress for them.
Vegas have them win total at 6.5. I'm gonna give you some schedule. I'm not gonna tell you who they're playing. I'm gonna tell you the times they're playing. These are UK times. Are you ready? 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m., change, 5 p.m. That's because we've changed clocks and they haven't. 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 6 p.m., 9:30, which is the Dallas Thanksgiving game. 6 p.m., 6 p.m., Sunday the 22nd of December at the Patriots, TBD. And then Sunday the 29th of December, 6 p.m. If you were looking for a schedule of TV schedule to define what people thought of said team, this would be not at all, as they play at the moment 14 of their 16 games at 1 p.m.
Yeah. This is not a collection of primetime players, is it?
I read it and I was like, that's not right, is it? No, it is. It is. Yeah, I think they'll win some games. Like, I think it doesn't help that post the 3rd of November when they play Washington, they've only got 3 home games: Denver, Baltimore, and the Jets, all of which would be used to weather. That's not helpful. That's a time you want Jacksonville, and Tampa. You haven't got them. But I think they'll win games. You've got good defense, but they're a 7-9 team. So, I'm with the schedule makers here, and I don't think the Bills will be discussed at all.
No.
Next, Neil, let's get on to the Miami Dolphins. Ins, defensive tackle Christian Wilkins, as you highlighted. Also, last year's first-round draft pick for the Arizona Cardinals, Josh Rosen. Dwayne Allen, and taking a leaf out of Washington's book, they've also paid a fortune for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Out, Robert Quinn, Ryan Tannehill, that experiment long since passed now, and Danny Amendola.
And Adam Gase, of course.
Big question for the Dolphins is, what's the plan?
Well, the plan is to go out. They're going to put a team out there and try and compete on the field, but they're not going to go out of their way to commit great resources to winning games. They want, ideally, to acquire draft picks for 2020, which they've already got 12 of. They're scheduled to have about $100 million in cap space for next year. They want to put themselves in a position where, if just possible, Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't the long-term answer, and if Josh Rosen, when he gets an opportunity, is a bust, they want to be in a position where they can go up and get one of the quarterbacks coming out next year. Now, obviously this plan, they need to have bought Brian Flores in on it to say, look, short of an 0-16, you're probably going to be safe. But I can't see this team as it's currently stand. I mean, Charles Harris, who was the first-round pick in 2017, has more offside penalties than sacks in 2 seasons. The offsides are winning 4-3, I think. And they have an absolute abysmal offensive line, save for Laramie Tunsil, who's probably, league average, but he's so much better than the rest of them. Running back, they've got Kenyon Drake, who, if you want to know what Josh Jacobs could turn out to be, it's possible. I'm just saying, Alabama running back hardly gets used. This is what you could have won, and they've still got Devontae Parker. So they're being loyal to people who've not exactly gone out of their way to repay this loyalty. And I just don't think, as I say, they want to go out and intentionally lose, because what they want is players who maybe, they want players who are going to go away, and if their contracts are up, they go away and they can get some comp picks for them, or they can trade them away because they're playing well. They want to acquire draft picks and more resources, so that means that they have to showcase what they have. But I just think they're not going to be terribly good on the field, even if they do. Once the game starts, they do try their very best to win the games. I don't think they're going to win too many.
Interesting one. I don't think they could have kept Adam Gase. I don't. It's not what I believe. But
No, they're quitting him.
But I'm not sure signing someone from the Bill Belichick tree is helpful when you're not trying to win games. And I know we're saying, they've got 12 draft picks, but they probably want to try and go from 5-1 with those draft picks, not from 15-1. So they really don't want to be 7-9, 6-10.
No,
it's not in their remit. They want to be a 3-win team, if that's what we're saying. Obviously, all the noises coming out of said franchises, we're trying to win, normal fare. And to be fair, they brought in a first round draft pick quarterback to see if they need to get another quarterback. Logical, sensible, good dealings. They've got rid of a lot of dead wood.
Yeah.
A lot of high paid dead wood. I think they're hopeful that the years of Miami winning the off season is over. They realise that didn't work because they just got to 8-8 every year. It's not helpful. It's not where you want to be. And I think there's a plan. Unconditional tanking. Do you know what I mean? They're not gonna tank, but they're not going out of their way to win games by who they've brought to the team.
No,
I think it's probably the best way to describe it.
Well, it's as you say, they're going big on free agency has got them to a period where they have spent the best part of 20 years as mediocre. Was it 3 playoff appearances since 2002? If 2, I think it's actually only 2. Now, come to think of it, they haven't won a playoff game since 2002. It just didn't work. So why not just say, okay, total shutdown, total rebuild. We're not going to go. We're not going to do something stupid and put a kid at a 7th round, 7th round kid from all the last college to start the game. They're going to try and be competitive once the game starts. They're just not going out the way to say, as you say, they don't want to win the off season and put the shiny big money thing out and then say, oh God, how have we got to 7 wins? We're screwed. If they can look a few wins and say they can take something from it from players like Josh Rosen, Xavier Howard, people like that, then all power to them. But if they went 2-14, I don't think they'll be crying too many tears in their front office.
No, agreed. Neil, who's breaking out fantasy-wise for Miami?
Well, ridiculously efficient during his time at Kansas City and before his 2018 season was cut short was Albert Wilson. Run after, he's yards after the catch monster. Just put the ball in his hand, he will make plays. At the moment, according to Fantasy Football Calculator, he's not being drafted. Now, you look at their depth chart, it's as I say, they've got Devontae Parker, he's never going to get it. He doesn't want it, I don't think. They've got Kenny Stills. He's going to have weeks. He's probably a poor man's Deshaun Jackson. He could have the 3 for 120 and a touchdown, but he's not going to get you volume. They've got Mike Gesicki, who was a major bust, contributes nothing in the run game, and despite being a freakish athlete, didn't score a single touchdown last year. Now, I'm not putting it all on him because I know Adam Gase misuses his tight end, misuses his offense. If they haven't got Peyton Manning in, but we'll come to him. So I think Albert Wilson, you can wait until after your draft, pick him up on waivers, put him on your bench. He has as good a chance as anyone in this team to lead it in targets and receiving yards. So not going to be a superstar, but he might have the odd wide receiver 2 week, but more often not going to be a wide receiver 3. But again, this team, you say the cupboard is very, very bare.
Who's breaking down on the Dolphins, Neil?
It's Devontae Parker, as I say, wide receiver 60. But people are still, first round pick, people are still buying that. Yeah, but he's crap. He has shown absolutely nothing except an ability to get paid. Why they re-signed him, I don't know. But it's going to be, friend Matt Kelly always goes on to vote it, bigger draft bust at this stage, Parker or Dotson. can they both be the loser? Because they both are. Anyone who's thinking, I'll throw one park away because of the same argument. Who else is on that depth chart? As long as there's someone else, DeMonte Parker will not be the guy.
Correct, Neil. And final question on the Dolphins, more likely to be discussed by draftniks in Week 17, in the Super Bowl, or not at all?
Oh, the draftniks.
I think that is their goal. Do you know what I mean? I think they want to be discussed by draftniks.
Because as well, it adds a bit of, as I say, once the season finishes, people will be talking about the Miami Dolphins before they've even selected a player. And it'll add some intrigue. It'll get the fans excited, a bit of buzz.
On that note as well, they play one Monday Night Football game, and they play once at 9 o'clock at Indianapolis. The win total is 5.5. I'd be taking a sweet under on that. Please gamble responsibly.
I will put all the money that Patrick Benson stole from Wendy's on the under.
On the under. Amen. Next, Neil. The Super Bowl champs. The dynasty. The franchise. The whole freaking lot. The New England Patriots. The change in N'Keal Harry. Michael Bennett, you may know him, loves a weirdly shaped T when playing in the NFL. Benjamin Watson, Dontrell Inman, and Jamie Collins. It's not like the Patriots to sell high and buy low. Out Gronk. After seeing pictures of him this week, almost definitely retired.
Yeah, thinner than me.
Yeah, looks like a man who hasn't been going to the gym, and good luck to him. I wish him all the best. Dwayne Allen and Adrian Claiborne. The big question is Gronk, Neil, and how big a miss will he be in that offense?
Well, he's going to be a huge miss, because obviously even last season when he wasn't fit and he wasn't healthy, he was still a good tight end. He just wasn't Rob Gronkowski anymore. And we have seen over the past, since he's been in the league, that he's the one player who, when he's not there, really affects the production of Tom Brady. His yards per attempt, his passing yards per game, his touchdowns, they all drop when Rob Gronkowski is missing. Do we trust the New England Patriots to borrow a Chip Kelly phrase, not replace the player, but replace the aggregate? Yeah, of course we do. It's what the Patriots do. Does this mean they're going to plug Matt Lacoste in and he's going to get 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns? No. Does it mean they could get 800 to 900 yards from their tight ends and 7 or 8 touchdowns? Yes. Does it mean they're going to use other players more on offense than they did last year? Yeah, of course it does. Does it mean they're going to run the ball more? Probably. But they will adapt. They are the best team in the NFL at doing so. And also one thing to remember is now that Belichick has 6 Super Bowls as head coach, he's gotten past Lombardi in terms of NFL titles, but he is level with George Halas and Curly Lambeau. So when he gets his 7th, he'll own it all. So let him get his 7th, and then hopefully he can piss off.
Yeah, for everyone who isn't from New England, he will be a big miss, Gronk. He's been a wonderful player, and I think we talked about it when he retired. Like weirdos on Twitter who don't think he's a Hall of Famer. Like, cool story in that.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, and this is with some teams, for example mine, they get no benefit of the doubt and no idea that they know what they're doing because there's usually no plan. The Patriots are the opposite of that, so they lose pieces and you expect them to be okay. I think there's only 2 pieces where you would be majorly concerned. One is the head coach and one is the quarterback. Will they miss the production of Gronk and his ability to catch the ball? Of course they will. Like, who wouldn't? But if there was one team that I think would cope with it better than most, then it would be the New England Patriots.
Do we just think now that they're basically buying in on the idea that they'll keep Brady until he dies?
I think he's convinced them that this isn't a year-by-year concept. This isn't like, Favre or Manning, where there was like this, are they going to play again next year? Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the noise on Tom Brady not playing? It's not.
There's not.
He's now going Jeff Fisher levels of genius on social media, and also throwing the ball harder than some pitchers in Major League. So this is a concern for Patriot haters out there. I have to say I watched a great, it's just assume as an advert with Peyton Manning in watching the Atlanta Super Bowl. It's truly magnificent. If you haven't seen it, try and find it. Who's breaking out fantasy wise for the New England Patriots, Neil? Let's put a caveat on this, as we usually say, all Patriots should be avoided at all cost, as Bill Belichick hates your fantasy team.
Bill Belichick does hate your fantasy team, and he will almost go out of his way to see who the fantasy pundits are liking in 1 week, and then he'll marginalise them. But if we look at games where Rob Gronkowski has missed over the last few years, then one of the big recipients of one of the big people who've benefited from this have been Julian Edelman. Obviously, he missed 2017. He started late last year because of a PED suspension. But you look, he was a target magnet. He's got the mind meld going with Brady. And you saw in the Super Bowl, he gets open. So James White will probably still get his. He had 87 receptions last year, so he's still going to be involved. But I think in terms of sure things, when you look, say, there's no Rob Gronkowski anymore, you look at the rest of the wide receivers. N'Keal Harry is a rookie and apparently hasn't been looking too good in practice going up against Stephon Gilmore. You mean a rookie didn't look good against one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL? Oh, the sky must be falling in. We still don't know what's happening with Josh Gordon. Dontrell Inman, I say he could be pushing Philip Dorsett for another place in that roster. Let's go with the sure thing. It's Julian Edelman. At the moment, he's going wide receiver 15 in PPR leagues, and there's a good chance that that's pretty much where he'll be. He may have the odd week if he can find the end zone a couple of times where he's high-end wide receiver one, but he's probably going to be in and around top 12 to top 16. You'll know what you get when you're getting him.
He also does an amazing Bill Belichick impression.
I don't think it was that good.
I thought it was good. I think it's not necessarily the accent, it's the mannerisms and the way he talked and the breaks and the breathes. I think that's what did it for me.
Yeah, I think Belichick, if you're going to do the impression though, you have to get the voice.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think that mannerisms you can manufacture. You literally by just staring deadly into the camera, but you've got to get the voice.
Yeah, true. Who's breaking down on the Patriots, Neil?
Sony Michel worries me, especially at his ADP. Now, he's going at running back 25, and there's a good reason for that. He doesn't catch the ball. He wasn't used as a receiver last year. They've got James White, of course he isn't. But he's been injured. He's hardly participated in minicamp. They brought in, the Patriots spent a first-round pick on Michel, and then they spent another high-round pick on Harris. What's his name? Is it Dwayne Harris from Alabama, yeah? It's one of those things. Josh Norris always says the draft and free agency are the two times where teams cannot lie to you because you can see what they want and what they want to do. And obviously we know, they want to keep wrecking everyone's head, and there's a good chance that they'll have James White weeks, Sony Michel weeks, Dwayne Harris weeks, Rex Burkhead weeks. We'll throw the ball 60 times, not run it weeks. But I just feel the stockpiling of assets at running back, plus the fact that he's a practical zero in the passing game, I just worry about Sony Michel. So I would steer clear at his current ADP.
I like it. Neil worries about Sony. Yeah, so do I. I remember when they used to own the electronics industry. More likely to be... Thank you. So Neil, more likely to be discussed by Draftniks in week 17, in Super Bowl week, he says, changing the tone of his voice, knowing the answer, or not at all. Which one, Neil?
I think this is a stupid question. I think we should get on to New York.
We should. What I would say, if we want to play the what I call the opposite game, from week 6 to week 15, the Patriots do not play at 6 p.m. UK time on a Sunday. So they go Thursday night, Monday night, Sunday Fox game of the week, Sunday night football, bye, Fox game of the week. Fox game of the week. Sunday Night Football.
Almost like they're good at this.
It's almost like people want to watch them. Win total's 11.5. Get to play that cool game where we just say, can you see them losing? Can you see them losing 5 times?
No, they'll come across one team. There'll be one team that, for some strange reason, will bully them, and we'll look back and go, "How the did that happen?" But at the moment, it's that we're too far out to guess which team that will do that to them.
Week 2 at the Miami Dolphins, 1 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be 70 bajillion degrees, and they will lose a bizarre game.
35-28. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, ooh. You know, I have to say, personally looking forward to it 1 p.m. Well, 6 p.m. UK time, Sunday the 6th of October, at FedEx Field, with half of Boston and us getting beaten by about 50 points. How many times do you think I'll see that stat about rookie quarterbacks against Bill Belichick that week?
I'm sick to the fucking teeth of it.
Neil, final team, the New York Football Jets. The change-ins, Quinnen Williams, Kelechi Osemele, and a guy you may know as Le'Veon Bell. He used to play football, and he's back playing football again. Out, Isaiah Crowell, Spencer Long. The big question for me, Neil, which will we see more daily news headlines about? The Jets on the field or the Jets off the field?
Oh, it's off the field. I say they have gone full bore of filling their coaching staff with utter head cases and egomaniacs. We'll start with, the Adam Gase, who, as we say, is an offensive genius whenever he's had Peyton Manning as his quarterback.
Whenever he's had a top 5 quarterback of all time, Adam Gase's offense has been amazing.
Yeah, funny that, isn't it? But this is a man who, when it comes to winning power struggles, he's up there with the best of them. He's got
a better record at power struggles than Hulk Hogan had at WrestleManias.
Absolutely. The man just knows how to get rid of people he doesn't like. And Greg Williams, I don't know if we've known, but throughout his time in the NFL, has come across as something of an arsehole. Doesn't like to lose in practice. Well, let's contribute to the bigger goal, shall we, dickhead? I remember you telling me the first day Mark Brunell training camp for Washington, and he sent an 11-man blitz at him in training camp, and told Joe Gibbs, literally just before the snap, went, yeah, everyone's blitzing. Okay, you're doing what?
There's a phraseology, there's a phrase we use for a former England batsman born in South Africa. That is fig jam.
Fig jam.
If I'm good, just ask me. Greg Williams is the American coaching personification of fig jam. I
mean, just while we've been talking about him, he's turned down 15 NFL jobs. The worry for me is, though, moving to the other side, it's as we say, this team showed a little bit of promise down the stretch last year with Sam Darnold, who led all quarterbacks in QBR in the month of December. Robbie Anderson got the partnership going with Sam Darnold. Chris Herndon was a productive rookie, which is rare in of itself, but he was a productive rookie tight end for the New York Jets, which is rarer than rocking horse shit. Defensively, they could... Stop me if you've heard this about the Jets. They could do with a pass rusher, but they've needed one since John Abraham, so, not in there. I just worry that the good thing they had potentially building and made them attractive to head coaches, they've put in the hands of Adam Gase. And, to quote the line from Blackadder, I'd rather trust my tackle in the hands of a lunatic with a pair of scissors than trust my 22-year-old franchise quarterback to a man who has no skills at developing quarterbacks unless they're Peyton Manning.
This is the issue, right? You at the 22-year-old franchise quarterback. There are many different reasons why first-round draft picks at quarterback have a 50% success rate. our friend Andrew Sands would tell us most of them are due to the fact that basically drafting is Russian roulette. However, one of the reasons is first round highly drafted quarterbacks go to crap teams who are run by crap front officers and crap owners, and therefore put in crap positions and then do crap. So you've got Sam Darnold, you see some promise, you put him with Adam Gase, you hire Greg Williams, you get Lev Bell in. Oh, that's a good idea. Apart from the fact you then told that one of the reasons you've sacked your flipping general manager is because he hired Lev Bell and your head coach doesn't want him. Luckily, that won't be an issue because Lev Bell's a quiet guy who won't pull up any trees and make an issue with anything.
Yeah. Head down, keep going.
Okay, I think you may have by accident got a good front office in position now, but you're the Jets, and much like Washington, you will do something that will make that not good, because that's what you do. That's what you've done forever.
It's as you say, there's no benefit of the doubt afforded to teams like the New York Jets, Washington, Cleveland to an extent, although they're starting to turn it around, because you have shown time and time again that you cannot be trusted to handle the situation in a normal, professional manner.
Exactly. Neil, who's breaking out for the New York Football Jets?
Well, the breaking out for me, as I say, I fear for Chris Herndon because Adam Gase has shown that he doesn't know how to use his tight end. And I think Herndon's also going to be suspended for a couple of weeks to start the season. So I'm going with Robbie Anderson. He ended last season fantastically well. Now, he has talked about how Gase and co want to move him around a bit more. They don't just want him running 9 routes time and time again. They actually want to put the ball in his hand and let him make plays. That's great. Robbie Anderson at the moment is going at wide receiver 30 in PPR leagues. That's an absolute bargain because he could easily be a top 24 wide receiver, even without masses and masses of touchdowns, because hopefully he'll get more volume as well as being able to deliver the splash play. I say he did have that good combination with Sam Darnold, so as long as that isn't taken away, that's something the Jets can build on.
Who's breaking down, Neil?
Le'Veon Bell at his ADP scares the living hell out of me. He hasn't played for over a year. He's the most.
And do you know that?
He's told us all about it.
Because I picked him second in the fantasy last year.
Now, one thing we know about Le'Veon Bell? Ridiculously patient behind a great Steelers offensive line. This is not a great offensive line, and I don't think they're going to push open wide running lanes for him. He's not a big play guy, as he doesn't bust off 20, 30-yard runs on a regular basis. He was, he got an absolute boatload of volume for Pittsburgh. Is he going to get that again? Probably, because Miami, under Gase, literally just didn't, just ran the ball an awful lot, but they didn't have a lot of plays. Look, last year, the number of plays they had was embarrassing. I think they were last in the league in total offensive plays. Now, at the moment, he's going as RB7, and that's just too high for a team that I just don't think their offense is going to be that good that it will support a top-tier running back. I mean, granted, in PPR leagues, he's probably going to get some as a receiver, but at the bread and butter, I just worry that I just don't trust Adam Gase to scheme and call an effective offense for a player like Le'Veon Bell, who, as we say, condition-wise, he usually starts slow. Well, he hasn't played in over a year, so now he's literally starting from very slow to try and get up to full speed. So at his current ADP, he's too rich for me.
If you are a fantasy drafter, and after reading all of the words about the Adam Gase takeover, and also given the fact that Lev Bell hasn't played in a year, you are still drafting him, I wish you good fortune, but I suspect this isn't the year for you in fantasy.
Yeah. I just think there's other options to take in the first round. Once you've got rid of past the 4 big running backs, you're going to start turning to the wide receivers. And I just think there's wide receivers I'd rather take at the 7th round pick, or the number 7, or 7 to 12 pick range. There's players I'd rather take than Le'Veon Bell.
Are the Jets more likely to be discussed by draftniks in Week 17, in the Super Bowl, or not at all?
I think they're another not at all. Would I like to see progress for Sam Darnold? Yes. Do I think it'll happen? No. I have no faith. I almost wish they'd got Jim Caldwell as head coach. Someone who has actually shown, that if you put him with quarterbacks, also like Peyton Manning, but he's been successful with Joe Flacco. He got Matt Stafford back on track. This guy, has coached competent offenses, not just Hall of Fame ones.
The Detroit Lions won 10 games and went to the playoffs. The Detroit freaking Lions.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Their win total is 6.5. So for those keeping score, there's 3 teams in this division with under 7 wins. Fantastic. Again, for those thinking this team is going 13-3, I wish you good fortune.
I cannot come with you on this voyage.
They will be battling with the New York Football Giants for biggest laughingstock on front page of New York Daily News every Monday. Look out on Twitter for some fantastic pictures and headlines. I think the Giants might sneak it this year, just for comedy value. And let's be honest, as we'll put this nicely, the Jets are the Ev. So it's just one of them things. It'll be not at all nationally. It will be a little less than the Giants in New York City.
Yeah, if you really want to, follow the clown show, then make sure you follow Manish Mehta, because I'm sure he'll have some reasoned and balanced viewpoints on it.
Of course, Neil, as always. So, Neil, divisional preview of the AFC East in the books. Probably don't really need to do a recap.
No.
We think there's a good chance the New England Patriots might get into the playoffs.
They might just sneak it.
And go far. We think the other 3 teams won't. One of them is defo trying to lose. The other 2, they're not going to win. Well, not going to win enough. Neil, so that's it. So before we go, is there anywhere people can catch you this week?
This week I've been mostly writing. I have had 2 articles over on Player Profiler. One of them is on 3 players coming back from injury next year and what their fancy hopes are. One is about 3 players who I will be avoiding at their current ADPs. One's a quarterback, one's a wide receiver, and one's Eric Ebron. So there's your tease. And I've had another one for Number Fire about why you needn't fear Kenny Golladay in 2019.
Oh, God, it's almost an attack on Liz Loza. I'm picking sides. You've lost.
Yeah.
Combined, as always, as we say, is at waxing_lyrical. Neil is at N13, and I am at Main7. Next week, the NFC East. Boy, am I looking forward to it. Until that time, these top guys are out.